Welcome into the FNIA podcast. As always, we are presented by Lowe's, the Hall of Famer, Coach Dungy. Coach, great to be with you. Jack Collinsworth as well. I'm looking around the NFL right now, Coach, and we have 7 jobs available as it sits. That's the Titans, Giants, Falcons, Browns, Raiders, Cardinals, and one that maybe not many people would expect, the Ravens and John Harbaugh being let go. Your immediate reaction to this one, a little surprising to a lot of people.
It was very surprising to me, Jack. And we were in Pittsburgh. And as you know, that was all the buzz. Well, whoever loses this game, their coach is in trouble. I was in the Steelers' offices on Saturday and I saw Art Rooney. And so I knew that part of it, if Pittsburgh lost, I knew that wasn't true. I
Yeah.
assumed that was true for John Harbaugh, that he was not in trouble. But then they lose the game and we get this news and it shocked me. I'll tell you that. I just thought the Ravens organization and how they're run, I was very, very surprised. You have a coach that's taken you to the playoffs 12 times, and the record they've had in the last 4 years, I did not see this coming.
So obviously they've been tremendous in the regular season. Lamar Jackson's been awesome. In the playoffs, for whatever reason, it hasn't gone their way. It has not worked out. Do you think that's the big factor here? Do you think it's a relationship with Lamar? I mean, what do you think it is at the end of the day?
The two things that I'm hearing, and just this is just from outside research, is number one, in the last 4 years, the number of blown double-digit leads in the second half. And if you think back to us, Jack, we had them 3 times this year.
Yep.
Big lead in Buffalo, looked like the best team in football for 3 quarters. They lose the game. They're up 12 points on New England at home and lose the game. And then now you take the lead in Pittsburgh and you've got the division on the line and you lose the game. So I get that part of it. Maybe disappointment that we're not finishing off games and what's wrong there. The other thing that I'm hearing is that it was not a John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson tip, but maybe Lamar wasn't pleased with the offensive coordinator and people saying maybe John Harbaugh needs to change offensive coordinators. And I'll tell you what, that has happened to me in my coaching career where management says, hey, you need to change coaches. We're not happy with this guy or that guy. And then you got a decision to make.
I mean, from my perspective, it seems to me like John Harbaugh has done everything in his power, including picking Lamar Jackson to build the offense around his skill set and put him in a position to be successful. Is that true or false from where you sit?
It's absolutely true. Ozzie Newsome, I can remember it, where they traded up into the first round. And, there were questions on Lamar. And they said, no, we're going to go get this guy and we're
Yep.
going to build this offense around him. We're going to do it to feature him. And they have. And he's won 2 MVPs. It's been sensational from that standpoint. It just hasn't culminated in a Super Bowl. And sometimes that can be frustrating. Gosh, we've done all this and we haven't gotten to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. The immediate question I would ask is be relative to what? Okay, so who are you going to hire? If you're going to fire John Harbaugh, I mean, who are you going to bring in that's going to be better? And coach, is there any name that pops into your mind when you think about that? If you're Steve Bisciotti making the decision?
Yeah, I think you have to look at it, and this is not a time to train a coach. Now, this is not a time to look and say, okay, long term, I'm going to have this guy for the next 10 years. You've got a roster that's ready for a Super Bowl. You need somebody with experience, somebody that can mold this group into take that next step and get to a Super Bowl. And I'm not sure who that is right now. There's a couple of people out there, a couple names, and we've had a couple of Charger games. Jesse Mentor is a guy who's been mentioned in a lot of places. Very, very good young coach. Has been in the Baltimore organization, knows the lay of the land there, would be a good name. But if I'm ready trying to win a Super Bowl, do I take a coach like that? Or do I maybe look at, I'm going to throw a name out there, Leslie Frazier. Okay, he's
Hmm.
in Seattle, assistant head coach. He's been in Baltimore. He might be ready to just, hey, take a 2 or 3 year run and see if we can get to a Super Bowl. Um, that to me is more of what I would be looking at if I were in Steve Bisciotti's position.
Very interesting. The first time, and I've mentioned this to you before, the first time a kind of flag went up for me was I talked to a couple of veteran players when Mike McDonald made the decision to go to Seattle. And it was that off season. and they were kind of disappointed that he didn't get the
Yes.
opportunity or the
Yeah.
conversation to get elevated to the head coaching role. And from my perspective at that point, I went, wait a minute, Harbaugh won a Super Bowl there, all the success he's had, everything that you laid out, it didn't make sense to me. But that was the first time that I thought maybe there are conversations within that locker room that a new voice or something may be beneficial for this group. And it also spoke to how much they liked Mike McDonald. And man, has his success turned out to
Yeah.
be
And
the
I
truth
get
with
that.
what they were
I could
saying.
see saying, hey, we want Coach McDonald here. And maybe John, maybe we go to him and say, how long are you going to do this? And maybe 4 more years, and Mike's going to take over. So, Mike, stay here.
Right.
You're going to get that job. Maybe you could have done it that way. But Mike McDonald was too hot and he was too good to
Was.
stay there with the success that they had. And he's proven that.
That's true. All right. So if you're Coach Harbaugh at this point, obviously these jobs available, the Titans, the Giants, the Falcons, the Browns, the Raiders, the Cardinals are some good cities really to choose from. What is the most attractive job right now to you, Coach?
To me, I would really look at Atlanta and I would say, you know
Uh,
what? It's a division doesn't have a dominant force in the division. They've got a young quarterback that they believe in. He's injured, but they've got a guy in Kirk Cousins who's there. Their defense made marked strides, and there's some talent there. So if that one, I'd be particularly interested in that one. I think John Harbaugh could do a very good job there.
and is that better than the New York Giants to you?
Well, New York, you have a young quarterback to work with. It looks like he's going to be your franchise guy. But New York's been dysfunctional for a long time, and
Yeah.
and you also have to get past Philadelphia, who's strong right now. So you could come in and do a really good job and still be the second best team in that division for a couple of years. But I like Atlanta, just where they are with their personnel and the division they're in. I think that could be very, very interesting.
I like it. I really wasn't thinking that, but it does seem like the South comes down to the final game every year. It's anybody's division. Half the time, it doesn't even feel like they have a winning record when they win the division. That they're competing with like an 8-9 record
Yeah.
trying to get in that thing. And so maybe it would make sense to go there, Coach.
And you can make an argument that Atlanta, for the last month, was the best team in that division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they finished tied for first place. If they
Yeah.
just don't screw up a couple of games earlier in the season, they're in the playoffs. And Raheem
If
Morris,
they beat the Jets, they're in the playoffs.
that's it. That's it. That's it. The amazing thing is, everybody thought this was going to be the year where Michael Penix takes off and becomes a star, and he ends up getting banged up. He played banged up, and then he has to leave the lineup. Kirk Cousins comes in, who they had basically given up on and made him a backup, and he starts stringing together wins down the backstretch of the season. And going into next year, is it clear that Penix is still your quarterback?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you can build on that. And if he comes back from that injury, plug him in and he's good to go. Kirk Cousins, just knowing him, Jack, and his personality, whether he's the starter or the backup, he's going to give you 100%. He's going to give you leadership. So to me, you've got two people in place that you can pick from. And either way you go, you're going to be okay. You've got some young defenders now that stepped up, and the draft choices seem to click. You've got a really good secondary. There's a lot of and to me, I think you got the best back in football. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to build on there.
Okay, Harbaugh potentially to Atlanta. I'm going to circle that, Coach. I'm going to keep an eye on that right now. Let's go to the playoff picture. Let's start here with the NFC playoff bracket. We've talked a lot about this. The Seahawks, the number 1 seed, the Bears, the 2 seed, the Eagles, the 3 seed, the Panthers, the 4 seed over there. So the Saturday games are going to be, it's going to be the 2 seed Bears hosting the Packers. Coach, a first thought on this game for you would be what?
Well, to me, it's protecting the football and turnovers. The
Yep.
Bears defense, we saw them out in San Francisco, not great at all, but they take the ball away. Your Green Bay and your quarterback hasn't been in the lineup. He's coming back. He's got to play well, but really protect that football. And I think the team that really protects the ball and doesn't turn it over is going to win. Chicago has had a history of taking it away, especially at home. I like the Bears, I think, just for that reason.
So who should be the favorite? You would say Chicago.
I'd say Chicago, home field, and that defense getting takeaways at Soldier Field.
And they usually will give the home team, 2 or 3 points. What would you say? Is this a touchdown difference between
Oh
these
no,
two
I think it's
teams?
going to be a field goal, end of the
Okay.
game. Last play, one quarterback is going to lead their team down the field to the last second score or not.
Okay. Okay. Packers favorited by a point and a half.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Goes to show you
Okay.
never know. Now, I will say Green Bay, they took them all the way to the wire the last time on
And
that
should have
field,
won the
too, and
game.
blew it.
Yeah, Malik Willis fumbles a snap. Otherwise, they probably win that game.
Yeah, yeah. This must say something too about people just not being sold on the Bears defense, because we've seen them have some really bad games and moments where they're just allowing touchdowns left and right. San Francisco on Sunday night comes to mind, Coach.
Yeah, and they end up with the number 2 seed. But we saw them in San Francisco in a game they needed to win, give up a ton of points, and then you go home for the final week against a team that's out of it. You have everything to play for. They have nothing to play for. You're at home, and they beat you. Your last 2 games have not given fans a good feeling. So I could see where Green Bay would be favored, but I like the Bears at home. I really do.
Okay. So let's go on down there. This is the 5 seed taking on the 4 seed. It's Rams against the Panthers. What are you thinking on this one, Coach?
Well, again, same thing. Turnovers and which defense does it. We thought the Rams were the best team in football a month ago. They went to Carolina and lost because Matthew Stafford turned it over 3 times, a pick six, another interception, and a fumble, and that was the game. If the Rams protect the ball, I would see them moving it up and down the field on Carolina. If they protect it, they'll score enough to win. But Carolina's hope is we get our two-headed running game going, we control the clock a little bit, and we force Stafford into getting a little anxious and turning the ball over.
So the Rams, the better team here on paper. By how many points would you say they should be the better team?
I would say the Rams win by a touchdown unless they just have 3 more giveaways again.
Okay. I believe the actual line was at least 10 points
Mm.
opening line. I'd have to check and see what it is currently, but yes.
And
Let's
I
get
could
to
see that too with, you look at the experience of the quarterback. Bryce Young in his first playoff game against Matthew Stafford in his 100th year in the league and a Super Bowl ring. If you're just looking at that, you'd have to say, yeah, I'm leaning on the Rams.
So it opened at double digits at 10. It's moved to 11 and a half now. So it's moving even more that the Rams are going to put a number up on them. This is a rematch. Remember, Carolina got them that first time. So we'll see if they can go get their revenge. I think that Devontae Adams injury, I mean, that has been so big for the
Yeah.
MVP race for the Rams season. They're in play for the 1 seed. We thought they would get the 1 seed, and they really have not looked like the same team without him, Coach.
No, they've got to get him back and get going. But they have Coach McVay, they've got playoff history, they've got an experienced quarterback. They're in pretty good shape. And the interesting thing about the 1 seed in the NFC this year is that the Seahawks have been better on the road than they've been at home. Their
Yeah.
losses have been at home. So it's not like, hey, you're going into a place where this team is indestructible. So I think there's hope on the NFC side for all of these teams.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Okay, let's get to the Sunday games then. The Sunday games, the NFC wild card, you have the 49ers and the Eagles. The Eagles, one of these teams now where we've seen speed bumps at certain points of the year, but do you think they can put together a Super Bowl run from here?
I think they have the potential to do it. They've got the talent to do it. Do they have the mentality? Do they have the togetherness? Is Jalen Hurts in the playoffs going to be that guy who does run the football, who goes after it aggressively? If he plays like the old Jalen Hurts, they have a chance. I think their defense will be rested up. They'll be back in shape. Their offensive line, not what we've seen in the past, but they'll be good enough. To me, the key is, are they getting the whole Jalen Hurts, or are they just getting the throwing Jalen Hurts?
What do you think they will do game plan wise against San Francisco?
I think the game plan will be what it's been, but will Jalen, when things open up and he has a chance to scramble for 15 yards, does he take it? I don't think they'll have many more design runs in for him, but
No,
the biggest part of his game is when everything's covered and it breaks down, him scrambling around, moving around, making things happen with his legs.
it is. So who should be the favorite in this game?
Oh, I think Philadelphia for sure. We've seen San Francisco, their defense struggles. stopping the run. They don't put a lot of pressure on the passer. I think Brock Purdy and that offense will score some points. But to me, I think Philadelphia should be a prohibitive favorite in this game.
How many points better would you guess?
I'm going to give them a touchdown.
Oh, a
7.
touchdown. Yeah. Yeah. You want to know what, Coach? I would agree with you on that. The actual line is 4.5 as it currently sits. So it's kind of right in between there. It's like field goal won't get you, 4 still won't get you, the hook on the half. So there it is, 4.5 right there in between. Let's go over to the AFC playoff picture then. The Broncos, they clinched the 1 seed, Patriots the 2 seed, Jags the 3, Steelers the 4 after the win on Sunday Night Football. So the matchups look like this. Let's start with this Sunday night game, the Chargers and the Patriots. The Chargers have just kind of been slugging their way through the season without both of their offensive tackles, which would have been an extreme strength on their team as you look at it. Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater. Now here they go into New England, taking on the Patriots. Opening thought on this game?
Well, everything tells you Patriots in this. Playing at home, cold weather, an LA team coming in, and the Chargers have struggled on offense. But a couple of things to note: the Jim Harbaugh mentality. Okay, let's keep this a close game. Let's fight it out, grind it out, see if we can get Amar and Hampton going, see if we can run the ball, make it low scoring. Their defense has played really, really well. They've been holding people under 20 points. Now they're going against a high-scoring offense that's been hot, but if the defense can play the way they've been playing and make it low scoring, let's see how New England reacts in that close game situation. And you've got the wild card. You've got Justin Herbert, who can make things happen when nothing is there. So I don't think this game is going to be as one-sided as people think. I do like New England where they're sitting because of being at home against a warm weather team. But I think this is going to be a very, very interesting game.
I would agree with you. I think it's one of the best quarterback matchups that we have the entire wild card weekend. I mean, shoot, he very well may win the MVP at this point, and we know what Herbert can do. And it's one of the best head coaching matchups. Both these guys view themselves as tougher, grittier, going to fight you to the final whistle. They both have that same mentality within them. And I was listening to Vrabel on a podcast this week, and you could just tell he's gearing up for a physical football game. He's talking about their 300-pound fullback and how we have to stop that. Who should be the favorite in this game, Coach?
Well, I think New England should be the favorite, but let's look at the Chargers. The Chargers rested a bunch of guys last week. They went into Denver, where Denver had to win to keep the number 1 seed. They played with a backup quarterback, and the game was back and forth. The Broncos end up winning it, but you put Justin Herbert in that game last week and tell me that the Chargers didn't have a chance to win it. They would have had a chance to win that game. I think it'll be the same way. Can Justin Herbert make some of those magical plays? Can that defense hold New England down, make it a 19, 20, 21-point game in there and see what happens? I think that's the way it's going to go. I would probably favor New England by a couple of points, but I think it's going to be right there for the taking in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, New England by 3.5 is the current line. So they're saying more than a field goal. Granted, they are at home. The Chargers are 5-0 in primetime games this year.
Yes.
And there's been some of those games you didn't really think on paper that they would win, especially with injuries, and they find a way. And a lot of times it seems to be Herbert, whether it's his legs, arms, a combination. He just finds a way to do it. It seems like Harbaugh's put a little something special in his mind that he already had, and he's brought it out of him, Coach.
I agree with you. And I think it's going to be that way. Okay, defense, you guys have to hold them down. And if you can keep us close, Justin will win it in the fourth quarter for us.
Yeah. Okay. How about the Texans and the Steelers? So 12-5 are the Texans. The Steelers are 10-7. It's the 5 seed taking on the 4 seed. Who should be the favorite in that game?
Well, I love the Texans. My heart is with the Steelers and where I grew up. But I'll tell you what, the Texans, their defense is going to make it tough on Aaron Rodgers. They've got a secondary that can play man coverage. They're going to be sitting on all those intermediate routes. They put a lot of pressure on you from the outside with Hunter and Will Anderson. C.J. Stroud is playing better. Now, the one area that Pittsburgh could do some damage, their edge rushers against an offensive line that still is not great for Houston. And can they force Stroud into some mistakes? But I think this is going to be a very good game. I like the Texans a little bit better, just and the fact that Pittsburgh came off this emotional win. Now you got to gear it back up again one more time. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin even said as much during his post-game press conference that he was happy the game was going to be on Monday night based on how
Oh,
physical that game was with the Ravens. Now, I'm not sure the
yeah.
Texans would want them to have the extra day. How do you view the Monday night aspect of this?
Yeah, I think it's really bad. It is a benefit for Pittsburgh, and they'll use that extra day to rest and recover. I think it's terrible for the Houston Texans. And here's why. I think they might be playing the best football of anybody right now in the AFC, and they have a team that has a chance to go. But I don't think they will because of the way it's set up. They will play a road game on Monday night in a tough environment. They'll get home on Tuesday early in the morning, and if they win the game and if the chalk holds, they would end up having to go to Denver, another road game on a short week against a team with a bye. And I don't like the setup of that at all. I think that we should have 3 games on Saturday and 3 on Sunday and not force anybody to play on a short week.
Interesting, interesting. So even though Tomlin feels like he gets an advantage out of this, there is the flip side of the coin, which is
You
after
win
this
this
game.
game, yes, the next game is going to be on a short week and you're going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I know how decisions get made. Monday Night Football, I'm sure they wanted the game there. I'm sure the ratings are bigger there. I'm sure the money's
Sure.
bigger there. And you know what? Not sure anything else matters to them.
Oh, and it'll be a great atmosphere Monday night. No question about it. It'll be awesome. But whoever wins the game will pay the price the next week.
Yeah, and the spread is Houston by 3, Houston -3, and that's a road team. So typically, like we said earlier, they will give the home team a little, 2 or 3 points. This time it goes the other way to Houston. So they must really feel like they're the better team. If this game was in Houston, they may be 6 points,
7,
almost a
yeah.
touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to win this game. Will he be able to do it against that Houston pass rush? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but man, if he could bottle up that fourth quarter, that second half this past week, I mean, he went retro mode. I didn't know if that was still in there at that level. He brought it out, coach. Now he
He
gets
really
deep play
did.
back
And
too.
yeah, he did. And Mike Tomlin told me on Saturday, this is why we got him for these moments. We're going to put the ball in his hands. We think he's going to deliver. And he was right. Aaron did. He went back and said, I'm going to win this game for you.
He sure was right. You were right. You picked him, and he made it happen, coach. He really did. Let's get to this final game over in the AFC. Then this is the Bills as the 6th seed taking on the Jags as the 3 seed. This game is in Jacksonville, down in Florida. What do you think? Buffalo, they won 5 out of the last 6 regular season games going into this one.
Buffalo's playing really well. Jacksonville's on a hot streak. Jacksonville's
Yep.
defense has been exceptional against the run. They've got to bottle up James Cook. But I'll tell you what, you still have Josh Allen in these huge moments, and he's been there going against Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has been outstanding the second half of the year. But there's something that tells me the visiting Bills with the mentality that this could be our year to go to the Super Bowl. We don't have to deal with Cincinnati. We don't have to deal with Kansas City. Yes, we're on the road, but we're playing some teams that we can beat. And I could see this one going right down to the wire and Josh Allen making a miraculous play to win it at the end.
I'm not sure there's been a better year for them to make a run. I'm with you on that. It's the first time. Now, granted, Jacksonville's not going to be easy. Jacksonville, 8-game win streak they enter this game on themselves. Trevor Lawrence has been playing in that same way that we mentioned with Justin Herbert, where it's like now he's running. Now he's showing even more toughness. He's got this different element of his game. The path to victory for Jacksonville would look like what to you, coach?
To me, it'll be getting Travis Etienne going.
Okay.
If they put it all on Trevor Lawrence, now you got some pass rushes, you got some speed on that Buffalo defense, but if their weakness is when you run the ball right at him, and Etienne is a good back, but they've got to get him going and have that mentality that we're going to augment Trevor with a good running game.
Okay. Who should be the favorite in this one? Maybe the most interesting are the ones we've done.
This is a tight game. I kind of like Buffalo. I think Jacksonville should be a 1 or 2 point favorite at home, but it would not surprise me at all. In fact, I think Josh Allen, I don't want Josh Allen to have the ball on the last drive if I'm a Jacksonville fan. I would not feel good if they're down 3 or 4 points and he's got the ball with a minute and a half left. I'd be shaking in my boots.
No matter what, it's going to be an uncomfortable second half playing against Josh Allen. You could have a 10-point lead, you could have a 14-point lead. It just never feels like enough. And I think the season that we've watched has been proof of that. Even the Bengals game when they thought their season was alive. The New England game, I think back to. So there's been a handful of times you just think that they're done and they are not. They come storming back. And I believe it's Jacksonville by a point. Is that what we said? What was the actual line? Buffalo by a point, right? 1.5. Buffalo by a point and a half.
And I could see where the betting line would go because people have confidence in that quarterback who's been there and done it. And it will be a very, very interesting game. But again, if I'm Jacksonville, I hope the ball's in my hands at the end of the game. That's all I'll say.
I'm with you on that. So this year, different than other years, Coach, where you feel like there could be some road team victories. You've been saying that. Do you still feel that way?
I absolutely do. I think we'll see at least 3 road teams win this weekend. It's that close. There's no dominant teams. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, Jack, and you just look at the favorites. We've got 4 road teams favored. That's unheard of in the playoffs, but I think it's that type of year. And with some of the quarterbacks that we have going, that's the story. But I think we're going to have close games, and I think we're going to have at least 3 road teams win.
I'm with you. This to me is my favorite weekend of the year. I know there's other good weekends. You know, the divisional is awesome. I love championship weekend. The Super Bowl is awesome. But when you have every team, all these teams that all had a good year, they all feel like it is their year, and you just get to watch back to back to back football games, Saturday, Sunday, and even get the Monday night. I love Wild Card Weekend, Coach. How do you feel about Wild Card?
I do too. And there's some Wild Card weeks or Wild Card games where you say, "Oh well, this team just barely snuck in, and they're playing the dominant team, and they have no chance to win." But I don't see a game like that on the docket. Every team, you could make a case for this is how they could win this game, and I think it's going to be awesome to watch it play out.
Yeah, the only one is probably Carolina, and then you go, but wait a minute. They already beat the Rams. And so you really can't say that
we
about
said that a month ago, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Coach. Really appreciate your time today. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And I will see you up there in New England. They think they're about to start chasing more rings up there. Just up
Can't
the road.
wait. It's going to be a fun atmosphere. We haven't been there in a while. And I'll tell you what, I've gone there for some playoff games when we had good teams and they shut us down. So I'm looking to see what that New England defense comes up with for Justin Herbert.
That environment will be back. We will see you out there. Chargers Patriots on Sunday night. FNIA podcast. We're out. Thank you, Coach.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.